We have the great gift to build the kind of character that can last. We're a tool, we're a resource, we're a language. Yes, there are roadblocks, and we've got to do hard things because kids are worth it. If we don't tell our story, then someone else will.
Hey everybody, it's Pat Cohan with the THSADA Director's Cut. And today we have a special guest, Stephen Mackey, who's at all the shows here with the THSADA, does a phenomenal job. And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about his journey, all the initiatives that he's launched here in the state of Texas, but more importantly, what he's doing now. Special thanks goes out to LED Partners for making this beautiful setup. It's a mobile setup on wheels, was able to put it together in less than 90 minutes, and we were up and running. So if you're looking for a mobile display at your next event, check out LED Partners. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy this THSADA Director's Cut. Stephen, thanks so much for joining us. You know, I have a story. You and I met 2019 at the Texas Coaches School.
Yep.
Never heard of you. Somebody
Same.
introduced you. And I asked you, how did you get so good on camera and talking? And you said, I did 100 podcasts.
Yeah.
How did that go down? Was it like you just sat down and just like did podcast after podcast?
I did. So I just gave myself a challenge. I knew that what I wanted to do and be great at was a 7-minute talk. And I wanted to be the best, no matter what the topic was or when the time was, like turning a light switch on. I wanted to turn on the light switch and be the best at giving a 7-minute motivational talk that had meat to it. And so I said, well, I can't get in front of 100 schools because I only know 2. So what can I do? What can I do? I can go in my closet and I can hit record on a podcast, and made the challenge to do 100 days of podcasting on a topic that I saw throughout the day, something that sparked in my mind, but the rules were I couldn't take notes and prepare. And once I hit record, I couldn't hit stop until I was done. And so I did that for 100 days. And each day I began looking for something that stood out to me, a moment where I go, oh, that's good. And then would store that away. And then no matter if it was at midnight, at the end of a 21-hour day, or before dinner, I would do that podcast. And I did it for 100 days straight.
You don't know how many times I've thought about that story in particular, because I have now done over 200 podcasts.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
But that was from a lot of the encouragement in like doing the episode that you really don't want to do came from, man, Stephen Mackey did 100. I had to tell you that the first time I got to see you again. So now your career, and a lot of people know it because you share it in your stories. But if you could give us like the brief overview, not even how you got into this, but who was Stephen Mackey in high school?
Yeah, in high school, man, I was the guy that was both, I was talented enough, but I had the intangibles. And I learned the intangibles early on. And that was the thing that really, I put my eggs in that basket. I was going to outwork you. I might not be the strongest. I'd be one of the strongest. Might not be the fastest, but I'd be up there. But it was the leadership, the work ethic, the dogged determination. Those were the things that ultimately got me to the next level and allowed me to make an impact on the field. I wanted deeply to live for something bigger than myself. And that happened really starting in 8th grade. Was when that vision was cast in my life outside of sports, outside of school, to live for something bigger than self. And so just began trying to find ways to do that wherever I was. And where I happened to be was athletics. And so that was me. I was involved in everything, every organization. Not only was I a part of, but I wanted to be an officer in. And I didn't know how to say no. And I think looking back on, I was talking with a director of student services from Illinois just yesterday. And she said, in her experience, students that don't come from a background where success is a given, she said, those are the students that are most involved, those that are most hungry for the opportunity. They jump at everything. So when kids come up from a family where they know that college is paid for, they know, and this is broad stroke, they're not as eager to jump at. And I was the kid that I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I wasn't going to say no to anything that might get me there. And so that was me in high school, man.
Fast forward now, your journey is basically inspiring hundreds of thousands of students across the country to make that decision to maybe try to be successful. Because there's also the other half of that, and that's the ones that never even see that as possibility. And you've called yourself and in your programs, hope dealers is a big term. And so through this journey, I mean, I've got to kind of watch you go from impacting Texas, all the different schools in Texas, and now you're on a national stage and building programs for different states. What are the common things that move the needle for kids that you see with all the experiences that you've had?
The things that move needles for kids. Number one, you have to have a coach that is enthusiastic about believing in that kid. Lots of people believe, but they're not enthusiastic about it. Mm-hmm. Lots of people are enthusiastic, but they don't believe. It's when we put those two things together. A coach who's enthusiastic, they're fired up, they're bringing the juice about believing in that kid. All of a sudden, what that does is that shows that kid that there is more possible than their imagination can create. And here is this adult, this icon in their life, the person that they will sacrifice, sweat, show up early, stay late. This person that is, by and large, the most influential person in their life has that kind of enthusiastic belief about them. It allows them to believe in themselves and to expand what's possible. And once you do that, when that enthusiastic belief is not just about talent, but it's about leadership, impact, about the kind of person you can become and how that's the success, that's the competitive edge that lasts, one that can never be taken away, and how it can go from that locker room to the classroom to the hallway to their life. Now all of a sudden you have expanded that kid's universe exponentially. And then when you follow that up with, and I have the tools to help you get there, it creates an absolutely transformative equation for a kid. So what happens in those programs where we see big transformation, you've got an enthusiastic coach who's enthusiastic about believing in kids. They connect that beyond athletics, so every area of their life, and they are more concerned with who the kid is becoming than what they can do. And what ends up happening is that coaches that do this end up doing more than just sharing their expertise. They end up sharing their whole life with that kid. And that's the transformation. That's the thing. And along the way, you can have all kinds of different resources and tools, from curriculums to books to programs and service. All those different things become the way in which, or the vehicle through which you're doing the transformation, but they're not transformation. They're not the transformation themselves. They're just a vehicle for it.
Well, and a lot of what you've done so well is build programs and playbooks for these super enthusiastic coaches who want to believe. You do a really good job of getting them swimming in the right direction, and the programs that kind of give them the step-by-step process. That's something that you've mastered. And we work in a lot of different industries, and I always say, hey, Stephen Mackey's the best at putting together programs. Now, with those programs, though, once installed, they do well. What is education-based athletics doing that hinders the coach or the leader that has a plan, that has belief, that has enthusiasm? Where are we maybe putting speed bumps in the way of really good progress?
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is happening across the country at the governance level. It's no secret the challenges that public schools face because of different legislative roadblocks that are put, from funding to reporting and all kinds of different things that are put in the way. And so that
how does your message help overcome those obstacles?
The simple message is like, look, I get it. I know it's hard. I see it. I'm on the school board in my community. I serve at a state level board. I get that it's hard. And everything I've ever done that I'm proud of was really hard. Mm. And our kids, they don't know these roadblocks exist. They don't know what's happening in Austin. They don't know what's happening in the governance level. All they know is what's happening at home. They know what they've seen modeled. They know that here's this coach, and they could represent transformation, or they could represent just another adult that's not trustworthy. And so the message is, while it is hard, and there are people that are working very hard to help overcome some of those, the work doesn't change. The work is still the work, and it still matters because roadblock or not, there's a kid showing up to your locker room on Monday morning. Roadblock or not, there's still a kid who's discovering who they are, where they belong, why they matter. They're still asking the big questions of life, and they're still looking to their coach to answer it. So yes, it's hard. Yes, there are roadblocks, and we've got to do hard things because kids are worth it.
You build the Texas way to tackle sportsmanship in the state of Texas. What is the current, percentage or numbers that'll give context of where that program is at right now?
Sure. So for the Texas Way, over 52% of schools are enrolled in the Texas Way, meaning we've crossed that 50% mark now for the second year in a row. We finished year one at 56%. Then we reset the roles. So everyone is unenrolled, and now year two, you've got to re-enroll. And so as we built through the year, we're at 52%, almost where we finished year one. We crossed that point at the halfway point of year two. In football, ejections are down 25% in year two, meaning at year one, we had about a 12%, year two, 13%. So since we started, 25% fewer ejections in football than the 23-24 school year. That's phenomenal. If we're a business is booming. People are lining up to invest in us. What are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. We have coaches who have a common language, who have been equipped with great resources, and they've been given the vision and the mission to go make a difference, and they're doing that work. The Texas Way doesn't impact and doesn't exist apart from the work that athletic directors and coaches are doing day in and day out. We're a tool, we're a resource, we're a language, but they are doing the real work. And we see it happening in football. Across all sports, after year one, we saw a 13% reduction. And by every measure, we intend to see that goes up. Interestingly, though, and this is held since the very beginning, 87% of ejections that happen in the state of Texas come from schools that are not involved in the Texas Way. 9 out of 10 ejections from schools that said, thanks, but no thanks. We don't want to be a part of the free program. We don't want to be a part of the largest statewide initiative in the history of Texas high school athletics. We don't want to be, no thanks. We'll do it our way. 9 out of 10 ejections comes from that. Now, there's lots of reasons why that may be, and we're diving into the data to discover that. But I think what it demonstrates is when schools are willing to go in on the Texas Way, that it's not just that, it's a part of a bigger culture and a bigger leadership vision that we're going to go beyond the game, and that education-based athletics does more than give kids an opportunity to play a game. It teaches them the life skills that will last long after they're done playing the game.
And as you come here for the Spring Sponsor Showcase here at Lake Conroe, and you speak in front of the ADs that are in attendance, almost 300 ADs that are in attendance, what is the message to keep going with the Texas Way? What is the message now?
Sure. In this room, you've got the tip of the spear athletic director. There's nobody riding the fence in that room. They are on the other side, chasing as far as they can to the very edge of what's possible. I love that about this group. The challenge is that, if we're talking to the tip of the spear, then we can't just be asking them to enroll. We can't just be telling them, hey, this is what it is. We're preaching to the choir. These people have already, they're doing the things that will allow them to be on the District of Distinction list for the first time or for the second time. And so this group of ADs, the message today was to say, how can we engage our community in a new way and not just think, hey, let's promote what we're doing or tell them what's happening, or let's ask them to support us the Texas Way and not get ejected. But how can we engage with our community in a way that moves not just the Texas Way, but the athletic department and ultimately the kid forward? How can we let the Texas Way become an on-ramp to community engagement? And so that looks like creating opportunities for people in the community to serve through the Texas Way and letting that Texas Way be the reason they get involved. Because the reality is you can go to any community in Texas or across the country for that matter, And you're going to find people going, kids these days, they're stuck on their phone and they're this and they're that. And they have all these opinions about what kids are doing and what they're like today. Well, what the Texas Way offers is an opportunity for that person who has strong opinions about what kids are like today to come get involved and see, wait a minute, in our community, our student athletes in the name of the Texas Way have done 600 hours of community service. Wait a minute, what? 600 hours of student athlete-led community service? Well, that's leadership, that's impact. And that's what the Texas Way is about. So we look for ways to create service, to let them support both financially and in their expertise. Marketing departments helping promote the story of that program. Because the reality is, if we don't tell our story, then someone else will. And there's a reason, like, I don't know, maybe you've seen in Colorado political ads that are positive. I don't know if you've seen them there, but in Texas,
everybody likes a villain.
I can't tell you what any candidate is for. I can tell you what every candidate is against.
Yeah.
Because people love a villain. Nailed it. Negativity is more sticky and powerful. I think some research shows that we need 10 positive stories for every one negative.
Jeez.
And so we need to tell the positive story of what our program, our school district, and our kids are doing. And the Texas Way becomes a way to do that.
Well, you are a phenomenal storyteller in and of yourself. If you haven't heard Stephen speak, one of the best on the circuit, you got the opportunity to speak at the NIAAA's national conference last year.
Yeah.
So this is the ADs. This is 3,000 plus ADs from across the country. What was the message in that big room?
Yeah, and so this particular is actually in Austin, and so it was fun to invite them to Texas and to have them here, and it was great to see athletic directors hungry to go for more. And the message I share with them is the same message I've been sharing since 2017. And it's this, that everything we need to know to be successful in life, we can learn through sports. And that as coaches, we have not just a responsibility, but we have the great gift of helping young people learn that, to build the kind of character that can last, that can hold all of the success that they are working so hard to build. And so I shared with them the 6 pillars of championship character. And as we got to share that message with them, it's been so fun. Since then, I've been able to go to Wisconsin, multiple other states across the country, all from that one event, to share with athletic directors there who weren't able to come to the national event, but to continue to share the message. And I think as of today, we're in 22 states across the country. Over 50% of the state of Texas uses one of our programs. 1.5 million athletes and coaches every week have access to one of our many programs, and just so proud of our team, so grateful to coaches here in Texas and beyond that have trusted me to share that message, to be a part of the team. And every day I say I'm so grateful to be on the team, and it's something I'll never take for granted.
Well, Stephen, you've done a phenomenal job, and no better guy to lead that charge. So congratulations,
Appreciate you, man.
And good luck.
All right, thank you. Great job as always.